Okay, here we are thinking about the last two poems. Um, I'm noticing that three of our four poems this week have to do with childhood and parents. So you could compare and contrast themes regarding memories of childhood and the way we think of our parents, both as children and after we grow up. Gwendolyn Brooks, Song in the Front Yard, and it occurs to me too that three of our poets are poet laureates to the Library of Congress. Formerly, Theodore Roethke didn't live as long. He probably would have ended up being one eventually. But here in America, since the 1930s, we've had a tradition of poet laureates. They serve for 2 or 3 years for the Library of Congress, record their poetry, and speak at ceremonial events, visit the president, and so they're seen as the national poet. So you had Robert Frost, Gwendolyn Brooks, and Robert Hayden, all serving as poet laureates. Gwendolyn Brooks' approach to childhood is more from the teenage point of view. She is defiant to the authority of her mother, but it's a playful poem. I don't think she's seriously angry. A girl gets sick of a rose is a light-hearted comment, I suppose, that she wanted something other than traditional romance and the parent-approved approach to courting or to going out on dates. So the front yard becomes the symbol of doing what her parents want her to do, following the rules. As teenagers, we're told how to do that by authority, parents, teachers, relatives, and she's at an age where she wants to go to the backyard. She wants to do forbidden things and run wild through the streets and experience more of a gritty, realistic life without parental authority. So it's a fun poem to read. It moves fast. She's not playing with rhyme or meter. It's free verse, as a lot of poems after the 1930s are. And she also won the National Book Award and Pulitzer Prize, as did, I think, all of the other three poets as well. So she's among the very best poets. These four poems are a good introduction to American poetry. I'll be interested in seeing what you have to say. In your forum postings, you could share your own stories of breaking away, the first time that you broke away from your parents' authority and did something bad. Here, she doesn't get into the consequences at all of getting in trouble. She just wants the thrill and the fun of not being controlled and being with a bad boy. She wants to be a bad girl and find a bad boy. George seems to be the candidate there that she'd like to run around with. So it's all in good fun. Let's think about the other one, Papa's Waltz, very famous poem about a dance that he's having with his father. His father is also a hard-working, probably blue-collar father, seems to have a drinking problem that the mother disapproves of. The boy's point of view is open to interpretation here. I've seen online people saying both ways, that the kid hates the fact his father's drunk and is roughing him up in the dance, and it's not fun at all for the boy or the mom. But I don't see that so much. It seems like the boy is enjoying the time with his father, and even if it's a drunken father, he enjoys getting close and seems to want to be in the dance with the dad, even though it's a rough kind of dance. Some people have said it's not a dance at all. It's the boy's way of changing a beating, a spanking, into something better. So, that's possible as well, that it's all symbolic of a dance he wishes he would have had with his dad instead of the beatings he would get. That definitely would be a darker approach on this. So, Roethke himself had a lot of problems drinking and was an alcoholic and also had mental illness. Roethke's a Michigan poet and spent also a lot of time teaching at University of Washington, where I hail from. He had a mental illness, manic depression, so there are a lot of stories out there about eccentric things he would do. I've heard one that he would come into class through the window, and he wasn't on the first floor for a lot of his classes, so apparently he was out climbing the ledges and jumping into the class through the window at times. That may be a mythic kind of story that's been passed down. I don't know how true that is, but he definitely was eccentric and had some problems. A lot of artists in general have manic depression or schizophrenia. It seems to be helpful to some degree in creating art. I suppose in the manic stage, the energy that you have and the ability to break out of the box and create new forms, and you have a lot to say if you've ever been around a manic person. They can sound like a genius. They talk nonstop. I have a relative who suffers from manic depression. He can say quite a bit within 5 minutes, and the topics can be far-reaching, and he can be exuberant and laughing and very knowledgeable, and he sounds like a genius. But then, of course, the pendulum swings the other way, and he can't get out of bed, and he's listless, and he doesn't have anything to say at all. So it's a terrible disease in that way. And I suppose manic depression can often lead to self-medication as well. So seeking the bottle is a way to try to bring some normalcy to this life he was living on the roller coaster. So the song itself is kind of a roller coaster ride. Swings like a jazz lyric, back and forth, and very visual. You have the images of the belt buckle and the mother watching, disapproving, the smell of the whiskey. So it's not just visual imagery. You also have the thumping and the texture of the rough hand, and the belt and the music. So you're getting all the senses involved in this poem. I like poems that go beyond just the visual imagery and get the other senses involved: taste, touch, smell, and sound. And you have all of those in this poem. So let me know what you think about it. I look forward to your forum postings. We're just doing these 4 poems. Some of you noticed that the questions were different than the file that you opened up were different, so I X'd that out. That was from last year's course taught by another instructor. You also have excellent explanations of the poems in this chapter. It's worth reading around the poems as well and seeing what the chapter has to say about them. Okay, I'll look forward to reading your poems. We'll talk to you next time.